At 23, Gloria Allred was a single mom, teaching in some of the toughest schools in the nation. She put herself through law school and rose to the top of the legal profession because she believes that everyone deserves the chance to be heard.
Where does the truth lie? Finding the truth helps us to find the solution. I will tell it like it is because that's who I am.
Honest, empowering, justice.
Some of you love me, some of you don't, but I will always speak the truth as I see it.
This is We the People with Gloria Allred. Restaurant server Caitlin Riggins is suing fellow server David Abate in the amount of $500 for a restaurant gratuity she claims she missed out on as a result of his negligence.
Ms. Riggins, what brings you to court today?
Your Honor, I'm here today because this man owes me $500.
That's not true. I don't owe her anything.
For cheating me out of my $500 tip from work. Basically, he was supposed to pick me up. He arrived late, and I got to work late, costing me a tip in my section of $500, and he owes this to me.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abate. What is your position on this?
My position is I don't owe her any money because it's her responsibility to get to work.
He agreed to pick me up.
Don't interrupt him.
I didn't want to give her a ride. It was her who insisted that I give her a ride. Finally, I said, okay, but she knew I was going out the night before, and I warned her that she'd be better off taking the bus, but she made me,
He offered the ride, Your Honor.
almost pretty much give her a ride.
He insisted.
So I showed up late, but it's her responsibility to get to work. I was just being a nice guy giving her a ride, but
I offered to take the bus.
I don't have any dealings with her as far as what losses that she would have if I didn't get her there on time. So I don't feel like I owe her a single penny.
All right. Court will decide whether you owe her a single penny more or nothing.
He owes me $500, Your Honor.
Ms. Riggins, the court will make that determination. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How did it come to be that it was the defendant who was driving you to work?
Well, my car has been in the shop, and on that date, I needed to start getting rides to work or taking public transit. And I had taken him to work many times in the past.
Not many times, a couple of times.
Don't interrupt her, please.
He found out that I needed a ride to work, and he basically offered.
And you accepted the offer?
Yes.
Because that was a big help to you?
Yes, and he
I didn't offer, Your Honor.
I did. Mr. Abate, don't speak until I speak to you and ask you for your response. Do you understand?
My apologies.
Now, what did I just say?
You said don't speak until it's spoken to.
Remember that, please,
I will.
and follow it. And I'll ask the same of the plaintiff. All right, so were you paying him to take you to work?
No, ma'am, I was not paying him.
So he was just helping you out?
Yes, he offered, and
He offered, and you accepted, is that right?
Yes, but I insisted as well that I could take the bus. I was okay, but he really wanted to drive me. So
Now, what about the fact that he testified, that he indicated that he told you that he was going to need to go out the night before, and maybe it would be better for you to arrange for some alternative form of transportation?
No, that was not said,
the next
Your Honor.
morning?
No, I'm
well,
sorry.
Let's find out from you, what did he tell you?
He said he was going to a party and there was no problem, that he could pick me up, that he won't oversleep, that he'll be there, that he's responsible. And I said, okay, fine. And
All right,
I knew
so you
about the
said,
party.
okay, fine. Did you
Yes.
tell him what time you needed to be picked
Yes,
up?
8:30.
What did you tell him?
8:30.
8:30? Did he arrive at 8:30?
No, and I called him 10 minutes later at 8:40. He didn't answer, and so I knew at that point I was going to be late.
All right, so at what point did you make contact with him?
He called me at 9:15.
All right, so in other words, you knew you were going to be late. You didn't arrange to take any form of public transportation. You just waited for him to call and pick you up. Is that right?
I did not have a backup plan because he
Wait, you
committed.
didn't have a backup plan?
No.
So finally he calls you at 9:15. What happened then?
I knew in my mind I was going to be late. I'm supposed to be at work at 9, so he said he would come pick me up. He arrived. I get there at 10 o'clock.
Okay, what happened? You got there at 10 o'clock, so why do you
Well,
come to
right
court
when I
today?
got to work, another employee came up to me and said, well, you snooze, you lose. And I said, why? And she said, because in your section, the girl just scored a $500 tip. And a wealthy man had come into the restaurant, sat down, and in my section right by the patio where I was supposed to be, I'm always there, and she basically won my tip because he was late to pick me up.
No,
All right, so
because
you're
you didn't get
saying
yourself
that
up
had
work
you
on
been
time.
there on time,
Yes.
you would have been able to get that tip?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's
All
not
right,
true.
now,
How do we know?
Mr. Abate, now it's your opportunity to be heard.
Okay. Her car broke down. We worked together. She came and asked me for a ride.
Not
I
true.
wasn't happy about it.
I didn't ask him
It's
for
my
a ride.
turn now. It's my
Ms.
turn.
Riggins, did you hear what I said to the defendant before about not interrupting? Did you hear that I said it also applies to you?
No.
It does apply to you.
Okay.
Are you hearing it now?
Yes.
Thank you. Uncross your arms and put them down by your side. And have appropriate courtroom conduct, please.
Is it possible to admit that into evidence, that she is not aware of what's going on?
No,
Well,
it is not. And the court will decide what's admissible into evidence and what is not. As of now, the only thing that's before me is testimony of both of you, which is evidence.
Coming up on We the People with Gloria Allred.
she pretty much stalked me to get this ride.
She stalked you.
She was calling me. She was texting
I am not a
me.
stalker.
I
I'm sorry.
avoided-
I'm not
I
supposed to talk. I'm
avoided-
not a stalker.
I
Ms. Riggins,
avoided her.
I want no more outbursts. Do you understand plain English?
Yes.
Well, then follow it. Thank you.
And later,
We're driving home and he sees a fast food place and he's always hungry when he's drunk. And he grabs the steering wheel and just pulls it. And we crash into a tree.
closed captioning provided by Allred. We're back with the case of Caitlin Riggins, who is suing David Abate for the loss of a $500 restaurant tip.
Mr. Abate, you may proceed.
She pretty much stalked me to get this ride. And I don't like giving other people rides. She was texting
I am not
me.
a stalker.
I
I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk. I'm not a stalker.
All right,
I
Ms.
avoided
Riggins.
her.
Ms. Riggins, Brian is the bailiff. Brian, will you please go and stand next to Ms. Riggins? The next time there is an outburst, she's going to need to leave the courtroom. Do you understand that Brian served our country in Iraq? And he's used to dealing with people that need to be dealt with. I want no more outbursts. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand plain English?
Yes.
Well, then follow it. Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Okay. She followed me wherever I was in the restaurant and said, you need to give me a ride. I've given you rides before, and it's only fair that you should do it. I said, okay, it's fair. You have...
All right, so you agreed to give her a ride. You also told her you're going to a party the night before,
She
right?
knew. It was a coworker, mutual coworker
All
of
right,
ours
okay.
that threw the party. I told her that I may be late. You're better off finding a public transportation on your own, because do not rely on me to come and get you.
All right, in any event, you overslept, isn't that right?
Correct. I overslept. I'll own up to that. But I did everything I could to get to her place on time. I called her immediately as soon as I woke up.
Which was 9:15.
9:15.
And she was late already when you called.
Yeah, she was already late, but what I didn't understand was if she cared about going to her job on time, what was she doing sitting around waiting for me to wake up? What if I never woke up? What was she going to do then? I was doing it as a friend.
So you're saying,
I was,
as a friend, if you're doing it, then you can not fulfill any
Correct.
agreement
I mean,
to get her to work at all because you're not being paid for it. Is that your position?
Correct. I've been in a situation where friends have promised to help me with something to do it and came up like they couldn't do it. I didn't go and sue them because it was
So because you
it was
didn't sue
done out of
them, you don't
friendship.
think she should be able to sue you?
No, she shouldn't. And who's to say that she would have gotten that $500 tip? She's not a great waitress. The other girl probably deserved to get the money. She snooze, she lose. It's not even that. Maybe it's just karma. But
Well, she snoozed, she loses. You're the one that was snoozing.
No,
And as
she
a result,
snoozed
was
because she
losing.
didn't- she
You
lost
didn't
because
lose,
she
but
didn't
she
show-
did, and you were the one that was snoozing. I was just picking up what you said. All right, anything
but
further,
I get
sir?
myself to work on time to get my money.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Anything further, sir?
That's all.
Thank you. Court is ready to rule. All right, in this case, it's clear that the plaintiff was relying on the defendant to get her to work. The defendant was basically doing her a favor as a coworker, helping her out while her car was being repaired. I think he was negligent in not getting there on time to take her to work when he said that he would. However, while the court finds that he was negligent, any damages that you suffer have to be foreseeable damages. In other words, would the defendant have been able to foresee that if he were late, you would lose a $500 tip? I think it's clear that no, he could not have foreseen that. That was a very unusual occurrence. If you had come to this court and said, I'm suing for 1 hour's time that I didn't get paid for by my employer because I wasn't there. That might have been a different case. That might have been foreseeable damages. Maybe I could have awarded you that, but you didn't come to court asking for that. You came to court asking for that $500 tip. I cannot award that as a result. Judgment for the defendant.
Judge Allred has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I'm definitely very happy. I didn't think I owed her any money, and the judge saw right through her, and I'm glad it's over, and I'm ready to move on with my life.
Because it wasn't foreseen doesn't mean that I should miss out on my work's pay. David is totally responsible, in my opinion, still.
And later,
Do you like to drink?
Yes,
All right. How many drinks do you have each day?
3 or 4, Your Honor.
Oh, that's a lie.
If I wanted to hear from you, I would call on you. Did I just call on you?
No, Your Honor.
Then restrain yourself, please.
closed captioning provided by Coming up on We the People with Gloria Allred.
She pretty much stalked me. She was
I am
texting
not
me.
a stalker.
I
I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk. I'm not a stalker.
I
Ms.
avoided
Riggins.
her.
Ms. Riggins, Brian is the bailiff. Brian, will you please go and stand next to Ms. Riggins? The next time there is an outburst, she's going to need to leave the courtroom. I want no more outbursts. Do you understand plain English?
Yes.
Well, then follow it. Thank you.
Coming up on We the People with Gloria Allred.
She pretty much stalked me. She was texting
I am not
me.
a stalker.
I
Ms.
avoided
Riggins,
her.
I want no more outbursts. Do you understand plain English?
Yes.
Well, then follow it. Thank you.